What up? T-Bob here.
And Jake as well.
And look at you. You done stumbled upon little OTB Saints, where we bring you all the latest black and gold coverage.
Who are the Saints going to draft? Who's going to be their quarterback? What does the salary cap look like? All that information and more.
Hope you enjoy it. Like, subscribe.
I think we have to start with the New Orleans Saints and the Who Dat Nation. And I know, look, if you're listening and you're like, all right, LSU, like, trust me, we're going to get to that. There's a ton to break down there. But going into this game, we talked about it. After the USC loss, and not even knowing about some of the disappointment that would come out of this last Saturday night, we talked about what an opportunity this was for the New Orleans Saints to kind of become heroes a bit, or maybe not heroes, right? But just to give us something to latch on to.
Yeah.
Because football, and the football morale has been very low around here. I mean, we almost literally stopped talking about the Saints in the preseason because every time we did, everybody just yelled at us to shut up and that you didn't care and blah, blah, blah. So we stopped playing Dennis Allen sound. We stopped telling you about the practice reports because it was normally like, hey, the offense looked really good. And everybody said, I don't want to hear about the offense looking good in practice. Okay, I get it, right? So you combine that. And we were being all positive about LSU. I don't know, it looked pretty good, 10-2, maybe playoff team, blah, blah, blah. And then immediately get to week one, LSU falls apart in Vegas, and suddenly it feels like everything stinks. And then Sunday rolls around. And from the first drive until the final whistle, the New Orleans Saints completely dismantled the Carolina Panthers in every single phase of the game. And just as a little cherry on top to reinforce what a great Sunday it was to kind of lift up the morale of the football troops here in the boot, the Atlanta Falcons look like garbage. They lose to 6 field goals from Justin Fields. Kirko Chains is more like Kirko Picks. And Derek Carr is damn near perfect as the Saints roll to a victory yesterday, beating the Panthers 47-10.
Yeah, they did everything that they had to do. And look, Carolina is barely an NFL team, but that doesn't matter. Like, you have to take advantage of that. And the Saints haven't always done that in the past. And so you've got a bad team in front of you. You're at home. What do? You go finish them, and you finish them early. And that was really impressive. And I know we're going to talk a lot of Derek Carr. And I hope we see that next week. My God, I hope we do. I've told y'all all offseason, I don't think he's good, but I hope he is because it makes this show better. It makes the state better. I want to be wrong in this. So far, so good on that front. But Alvin Kamara as well.
I know.
He looked like he had a new life, a new ability to actually go out there and be creative, which he hasn't had in years because it was just the same run over and over and over again. I thought the best job that Kubiak did was he kept the Panthers off balance. He didn't allow them to hone in on what they were doing like so many defenses were able to do with Pete Carmichael. So was it a bad opponent? Sure, but that doesn't matter. It's the NFL. And when you win 47-10, no, they're bad, but it doesn't matter. When you win 47-10, that is dominance. That is you doing the right things over and over again. And schematically, I was highly impressed with both the offense and the defense.
Yeah, I mean, the thing is, I don't want to go I don't want to, like, yeah, the Panthers are bad, but as you just said, it is the NFL. But we did just break down last week about how good the defense was last year. That, yeah, from a points per game perspective, they weren't the best because they weren't put in great positions, which you saw that again, right?
Yeah.
But that is a defense that, yardage-wise, was one of the best in the entire NFL. And we talk about them adding Jadeveon Clowney, and maybe they could do that same.
You lose Brian Burns.
You go
last night or yesterday.
But you go 9 of 9. You score all 9 possessions against which was a pretty good defense last year. And yeah, the Saints defense dismantling Bryce Young, literally nothing surprising about that.
How surprising is it he's that bad, though?
That is weird because there's a part of me as I'm watching the game, I'm like, is this situational, right? Because think about Tua. Tua under Brian Flores was bad. And I know not this bad, because I'm going through my thought process.
Right.
So I'm like, you think about Tua. He's under Flores. He's a bust. He sucks. He gets a good offensive coach. All of a sudden, he's one of the better quarterbacks in the entire NFL. And the NFL is littered with examples of guys who obviously were situationally dragged down. They get to a better spot, and they end up being way better. But where it's tough to get there with Bryce Young, and me and Moose were talking about this before the show, is some of those overthrows, you know?
Yeah.
Like it's not just that. And granted, the Carolina from Tepper sucks. The owner sucks. Like, the owner sets the tone from the top down. The franchise is as dysfunctional as any in the NFL. Bryce Young is not being put in a position to succeed, but there are still plays in front of him that if there were glimmers, like even in Flores' era, too, would make, like, some of those throws, right?
Right.
Like, Young just looks like such a shell of the player that once terrified college defenses across the nation, and he just can't put the ball in the windows that the NFL requires.
Honestly, T-Bob, he looks like he won a contest and got the ability to go be an NFL quarterback for a day.
He's just so tiny.
That's how – no, I mean, like, his size, but I'm just talking about when the ball snapped, it looks like there is zero plan. Like, there is no plan. We haven't watched film. We don't have, a scheme to go against whatever the defense is going against. But, look, you get them another time here in the season. That is good for you if you're the New Orleans Saints. And even though he looked like that, the defense was getting after him. Like Alontae Taylor, that performance that he had coming off the edge.
3 sacks.
The Saints DB room, which we actually talked about as one of the biggest positives on this team all season long.
In the entire NFL.
They are so versatile. They can do so many different things. And like Alontae Taylor might have a game where he doesn't come off the edge one time. It might be somebody else. But that's the beauty of having those multiple guys back there. I'd say 5 or 6 guys that you can really change up and do so many different things with.
Bro, we even got an old school Tyrann Mathieu forced fumble, still somehow ends up recovering the fumble as well. The Badger is just magic. Like if you go, I was just laughing so hard watching the replay because it's a classic Tyrann forced fumble, but his ability to be a magnet for the ball, like it's bouncing around, a million guys have a chance in it, and yet who comes up with it? Freaking 32, because of course he does. So look, man, again, you know what I'm going to do, man? I'm going to enjoy football on a week-by-week basis, and I'm going to react to what I'm seeing in front of my face. And so if you want to come here for some sort of measured optimism, if you want to come here for some sort of, well, it's the Carolina Panthers, you got the Dallas Cowboys next week. Good. F the Cowboys. Who gives a damn? Yeah, they looked really good too. I don't care. Because, again, what I saw this week is a performance that speaks to a team. Of course they're not as good as they look this week, right? It's impossible to be. I mean, think about the dominance, not just offensively, in all 3 phases of the game. Your offense scores all 9 possessions. Your defense forces 3 turnovers, only allows 10 points. On special teams, your kicker goes 4 of 4 with multiple 50 yards, including a 57. You get a punt block. You get excellent punt returns, a good kick return. It was about as perfect of a game as you could play. But the thing is, there was a lot of pressure this was the debut. This is the only data point of the Clint Kubiak offense that we had. And so while it may not look this perfect, there is no doubt that you have upgraded massively at offensive coordinator going from Stinky Pete to Clint. I mean, look at Chris Olave, 2 catches for 11 yards. You're taking advantage of your weapons, guys. The ball is spread out. You've revived Alvin Kamara. Jamal Williams got involved. Taysom Hill averaged 7 yards a carry in the run game. Yeah. He had multiple catches. You put him at quarterback. Rashid Shaheed, nearly 200 total yards, 3 catches, 73 and a tud. He had
long punt return, 47-yard punt return?
He had a 47-yard punt return. So on the day, 3 punt returns for 60 yards, 1 kick return for 33 yards. It was a great day. But I guess my main overall takeaway, I'm happy for Derek Carr. Hell yeah, Carfax. Shout out to the Carnies. My balls are feeling safe on this beautiful autumnal morning.
You said Friday.
No.
Stepping that back. No. We got the audio of that, actually.
No. Top 12 quarterback. Said it the entire time. But the story is not. The story is not Derek Carr as much as it is Kubiak breathing life into this offense as a whole. Now, if I wanted to give Carr love, probably my favorite part of that first touchdown to Shaheed was he had pressure in his face.
He stood in the pocket.
And we keep talking about how he struggles with pressure in his face. And that was third down with, was it 3 and out maybe? Maybe. No, I don't think it was 3 and out. You'd already gotten a couple first downs. But still, third down, staring you in the face, right? Are you going to go off? Are you going to have to punt? Everybody's disappointed. A pass rush in your face, and you deliver a strike for a touchdown. And everything gets started there. And then the rest of the game is just a snowball that the Panthers could not get control of. So a fantastic day for the New Orleans Saints. And really, Clint Kubiak especially, as we started joking about how we were basically painting him as the savior. And he looked every bit of that and then some, putting together a performance that goes beyond anything you ever would have expected.
I'm right there with you as far as the creativity of the offense and, just not lining up and doing the same thing over and over again, getting multiple people involved. Like even having a plan for Jamal Williams and like what he did. Like he was basically running 4-minute offense for the entire game, but he was successful because they didn't just line up and run the same play over and over again. And I thought getting everybody involved, a game in which Chris Olave had 2 catches and you still go out there, you score 47 points. I mean, Foster Moreau had a big day offensively.
Day.
I mean, it was just guy after guy after guy. And then the offensive front. For as bad as they looked in the preseason, they held up against a pretty good defensive line. Guys that have made plays, made Pro Bowls before, and I thought they held up nicely.
I think the entire justification of, some of the takes that maybe the preseason offense was pretty vanilla, right, pretty run-of-the-mill. And what this is something that we've talked about a lot in relation even to LSU and Blake Baker and what you wanted to see there, which is how much better can a player look like if you put them in a better position to succeed? Can you make a bad player average? Can you make an average player good? Can you make a good player great? And I still don't think this Saints offensive line is even though Fuanga looks really good. I do like Taliesin quite a bit. I don't think the Saints offensive line's like really good or one of the better in the league, but scheme can help you immensely, right? When the defense, like Jake's saying, when you're calling plays that is keeping the defense on their heels, when you're spreading the ball around so that Shaheed has 3 catches, Moore has 4, Kamara has 5, Juwan Johnson has 2, Jamal has 1, Olave has 2. Kamara gets 15 carries, Williams gets 11, Taysom Hill gets 5. Like when you're doing this, it helps everybody. It's like the last 6 weeks when all of a sudden you just start doing play action last year and suddenly the O-line's blocking better and having more success.
Right.
So, like Micah Parsons is going to, he's going to have his moments next week against Trevor Penning and whatnot. But this was a real commentary on kind of masking your personnel's weaknesses, highlighting their strengths, and making them look better overall than what they looked like previously.
So Eric McCoy, by the way, is kind of the thing that gets everything kind of started right there in the middle. I think he's actually probably playing the best that he has in his career. And when you have that solid piece right there in the middle, I think it's going to help you. It's going to help guards. And you played a couple of different guards here in this game. I thought the tackles were great. But Eric McCoy just continues to be consistent. And he continues to be somebody that you can count on. And, again, like going back to it, your quarterback struggles the most with pressure right in his face. Well, if you can solidify the middle with great center play and okay guard play, like he's going to help so many different things out. And so definitely giving an attaboy to the entire offensive line for what they did and compared to what they were and what we thought they were going. Even Trevor Penning played okay.
Yeah, he's fighting out there. I mean, go look at the first touchdown. That's where the pressure comes from, but it's not the best technique, but he is fighting his ass off. And he looked good in the run game. Everybody did. And last point I'll make here. There was so much hope for the resuscitation of Alvin Kamara, right? The McCaffrey-like resuscitation. The same thing that happened to Christian McCaffrey when we went to San Francisco. And it's just one game, but again, as the only data point that we have, maybe the best part of the day is actually Alvin Kamara looking like that threat once again. And and proving that, no, there's still gas left in this tank. This dog can still run.
Wow, just amazing black and gold takes right there, Jake.
I don't think I've ever heard any takes that are better than the two guys that just gave you that take.
And you can keep getting them by going ahead and liking, subscribing, ringing the bell to get notifications when we post. Have a great day. We'll see you on the next OTB Saints.